What's up, NBA fan? What's up, all sports fans? This your boy JB, host of the Behind the Bench Podcast Network and channel. Giving a shout out to the rest of the crew. Shad, Kelvin, KB Film Room, Big Dog Talk Sports. That's right, that's right. For everyone who's tuning in on this Tuesday, December 3rd, we thank you for supporting Behind the Bench. Subscribe to the channel. Help make the show the best that it can be. We're going to get right to it, man. NBA action last night. And as I've been saying, the gig been up. The gig is up. The gig is all the way up. It's been done. It's been done. You cannot sign a 34-year-old player, especially an outside player, to a 4-year deal and then extend them an additional 3 times. You can't do it, man. You cannot do it. Especially when his resume shows that when it comes to winning at the highest level championship play, that he's going to fall short more often than not. He came walking through the door with 6 championship losses. 6. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6 championship losses. A losing percentage in the finals of 66%. When you have a losing record in the finals, you do not have a winning percentage in the finals. You have a losing percentage in the finals. So that trajectory has carried over during this man's so-called tenure with this franchise. We saw we got the bird's eye view, front row seats, an exhibition showing you why they never should have went this route. As the Los Angeles Lakers went on the road to face the Minnesota Timberwolves, the T-Wolved, and the score could have been much worse. There would have wound up being 109-80. This team lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves by 29 points. And if Anthony Edwards, their star player, had just played decent, they win in this game by 40 points. They win this game by 40 points. As I keep saying, I trust the real built teams. I trust these young squads because they took the necessary steps to successful team building without taking shortcuts. That's why I trust them. I trust them. And now you have a wave of these teams in the Western Conference, and the Lakers are going to be faced with a major challenge for years to come once this is over. And hopefully they'll finally put an end to this charade after this season. There's no trade that's going to fix this. There's no move that's going to solve this. It's been over. When you hock away and mortgage off a decade for one season, this is what's going to happen. And coupled with the fact that this guy has it's like he has this obsession with being viewed as the GOAT. And he's not playing for the team. He's not playing to win. He's playing for himself. He's playing for himself. The Hurricane. That's why I call him the Hurricane. He just ripped the whole foundation to shreds, dog. He did that in year 1 when they predicted he was going to lead the young core to the Western Conference Finals. They didn't even sniff the playoffs. They finished with a losing record in year 1. So that showed you what this was going to be like. Even once you cashed in all the chips for that 1 year. And I believe what's happening is that the front office knowing and realizing that they did throw all the chips in, threw all caution to the wind, cast aside logic, shuffled out, shipped out the real players, wind up being led to sacrifice their young core. They were led to believe they was going to get more out of this experience. But when you do all that in one large swoop, you may get one out of the deal, but you really didn't win. You really lost because you had to mortgage off everything in sight to produce that 1 year. That's what this has been. This is the ultimate trade-off. This is what I've been saying the whole time. This is the all-time trade-off in the history of professional sports, not just the NBA, in the history of professional sports. So this guy, this man on this team, prior to the start of this season, said he was going to play all 82 games. So he's trying to match what Michael Jordan did at the age of 40. But if you don't have it in you, you don't have it in you. What I mean by that is, if your game has never truly reflected that you're better than that guy that played for the Chicago Bulls, it's going to show. No matter what you try to do, man. You can try to flex all day long. You can try to masquerade. It's going to show. Michael Jordan played all 82 games. Not because he tried to, because that's who he was. Meaning he played all 82 games 9 times in his career. The Hurricane only did it one time when he was trying to prove a point. That was his last year doing his second run in Cleveland in 2018. Michael, that was a part of his fabric. You see what I'm saying? And other players who gave you 82 games. Karl Malone gave you 80 games a year. Reggie Miller gave you 80 games a year. You know what I'm saying? You knew they was going to be out there on the court come Monday. To John Stockton, I believe he did. I believe he played all 82 games, something like, 14 times, 16 times in his career. John Havlicek did it with nearly 80% of his career. He played all 82 games. So he's out here trying to prove a point, man, and it's hurting the team, coupled with the fact that the team, all these outside players, they're not holding up. Half of them are injured. You don't know when they're going to return back to the lineup. And even if they did, they wouldn't hold up and beat the upper echelon teams in the Western Conference if they faced either one of them teams in the postseason. The gig been up. Anytime going into the previous year saying, oh man, we got the deepest team in the league, blase, we're gonna win the title, and then 365 days later, we gotta make some trades. We don't have enough depth. That means that team wasn't close to winning the championship to begin with. That's what I'm saying. There's too much fugazi going on. It's too much it's not delusion, it's denial. It's not delusion, it's denial. Because they don't want to admit, man, the gig is up. Because they knew that that's their young core was sacrificed. That's what this all gets back to each and every time. And coupled with the facts, historically, this man's team always flutters and stagnates around this time of the season, 2 months in. This is nothing different. Because his style of play, the LeBron system, is flawed in nature. It does not elevate. It eliminates 2 positions on the court, mainly the point guard position and the center position. One of those primary front court positions it eliminates. So it's like it harms the team defensively. You see what I'm saying? And it's like it produces a scenario where you're trying to cover for the flaw in the system, but what happens is you bring in guys that it'll give you an initial boost because you essentially got a brand new squad, but the league eventually, catches up to that new configured lineup. But it's designed for this man to get his stats. But now, like I said, he's so far beyond his prime. Not only does he not play defense, but when you have no interior, if you have no mid-range game, well, as you get older, you don't have the same speed to drive past your defender to drive to the basket. So you have no go-to move. And if the three-point shot not falling, this is what happens. This is what happens. And the metric shows that he's bogging down the team. He has the worst plus minus in the league cumulatively since the season started. So the Lakers in this conundrum, man, be like, darn if they do, darn if they don't. They're not going to win with him. And the only reason they so-called won in the bubble, they turned out to be the year of the bubbles because they threw all their chips in the middle of the table to get AD, and they brought in all these veterans, along with other undivine intervention throughout the course of the season that set them up to get an early boost on the rest of the competition in the conference, to where they started the season off with that 22-3 record. It's over, man. It's been over. Minnesota showed that last night. It was crazy. Anthony Edwards did not have a good game. The player of the game to me last night was Rudy Gobert, 17 points, 12 rebounds. Julius Randle played steady last night. Had about 18 points, about 6-7 rebounds. He didn't play. He didn't. You know, truth be told, since Julius Randle left the Lakers and Anthony Davis was traded to the Lakers, they probably faced each other about 10 times, at least eight good times. And out of those matches between Julius Randle and Anthony Davis, it's pretty much even. Out of those 8 games, let's say 9 games, it may be 5 games AD, 4 games Randle. You see what I'm saying? Randle always, when he plays the top power forwards, man, he always rises to the occasion. Just like he did in the Eastern Conference with the Knicks when he faced, whenever he went up against Giannis or Antetokounmpo. So, Minnesota's bench came through last night in a big way. I believe Naz Reid and Nickeil Alexander-Walker both had 15 points. Dante DiVincenzo had 11 points. Conley, he had about 10 points last night. Everybody pretty much played a role, man. And Minnesota, I believe eventually they'll find their groove. You know what I'm saying? If Ant-Man would have scored 20 last night, they win that game by 40. 109-80. It's over, man. And what the Lakers need to do after this season, man. First of all, the Hurricane need to retire from the game. Not just leave the Lakers. He needs to retire. It's over. The league is being held back. Everything regarding the league is being held back. Everything has been tinkered with to try to accommodate this guy's pursuit to become the GOAT. Everything, the scheduling, how the schedule is set up, eliminating back-to-backs, compromising training camp and preseason to make it happen, leaving players susceptible to injuries. I mean, I can go on and on and on. They changed the All-Star break from All-Star weekend to where they got a full week off so he can increase his recovery time between games. The way the playoffs has been set up used to be, pretty much back-to-back. They start stretching out, the days off between playoff games to try to help this dude recovery time. They've done everything. It's mind-boggling, man. It's mind-boggling. The gig is up, man. He needs to retire and let this league move forward so they can start promoting and highlighting these young stars and these squads is doing it the right way, because the Lakers are caught up in the matrix. Somebody needs to step in and say, this is over, man. It's been over. And that's what it comes down to. If they try to accommodate and capitulate to this dude one more time, the franchise is done for the next 10 years once all this is over. Because quite frankly, I believe once he leaves, Anthony Davis is going to want to leave too. Probably. Because there's not going to be anything there. So So somebody needs to put a stop to it. It's over, man. I'm tired of all these trade talks after every loss. It's the front office fault. They wasted his years. Look, they've given him 6 new squads. They traded 30-some plus players. They've relinquished the rights to over a dozen combined first round and second round draft picks. They've manipulated the cap to the tilt. They waived players to create additional cap space for him to come in and operate with impunity. They gave up the best young core in the world. They've done everything, and all they got to show for it is a bubble chip, which means they would have been better off just staying the course and not bringing them to the team in the first place. My attitude was, okay, we had a down period. We had some bad years. Okay, big deal. Every franchise, Patriots going through it right now. The Spurs went through it over the past 4 seasons, and now they trying to move forward with their young star, Victor Wembanyama, who, by the way, is only half a game behind the Lakers in the standings. So they have a future. OKC future is just the tip of the iceberg. All these teams are ahead of the Lakers because of what they're giving up. So again, Minnesota and Anthony Davis got outplayed by Rudy Gobert last night. I think AD only had about maybe 12 points or something like that. The Hurricane had 10 points. I mean, what we talking about? D'Angelo Russell had a pretty good game, shooting wise. It's over, man. It's over, and they need to stop fooling themselves and part ways with this dude. And he needs to retire. It's not gonna get any better. Father time hits everybody, man. Father time. When Jordan got older, you saw the attrition. But see, the thing about it though, man, Jordan had the will and the skill to crank out that last championship, 1998 versus Utah. Took all the grit to pull that off. Everybody succumbs to Father Time, man. Your most well-trained boxers, man, football players, baseball players, it's just a natural par in sports, man. That's the natural course, So somebody got to be real. Somebody got to start riding that wave. Someone got to use logic, intervene, save this franchise. That should be the mindset. After the season over, get control of the franchise back, and fans gonna have to lower expectations because right now, we're not even close to even think about winning a championship. In order to pursue something like that the right way, you have to know exactly where you stand. That's why I say that young core, when you're starting all over again, they playing hard for you, giving you 150%, competing their tail off. Had a point differential of -1. The Lakers' point differential right now is darn near -3. So that's what I'm saying. They're behind the young core squad. The record don't really exemplify that because they played a lot of easy teams, and they had a first 3 games started the season first 3 games at home. Their record is not a true 12-9. So what I'm saying is, when you had that young core and you had a future to look forward to, you knew exactly where you stood. You had a head coach that implemented an offensive system for them young men to thrive under while they grow and try to develop and build that chemistry with each other, which they was doing on a year-to-year basis. And when you cast that away, now you're winging it. You think you're in a great position. You think you're relevant, but you're not. You're not. It's all these cats be on these airways, man, criticizing Lakers, trashing the front office, man. It's old and it's played out. So this should be the last year of this, and I'll be one happy camper, man. I'm gonna celebrate like there's no tomorrow. And when I mean celebrate, it's gonna be for a couple years, boss. I'm probably gonna have that tingle, dog, from head to toe, and a smile on my face from east to west. They never should have made this move. And they should never go down this route again. So I just want to drop that golden nugget. And until next time, this is JB for BTB. I want my team back behind the bitch.